Hey Tumblr, this is Tevin Giles once again. Today I will not be singing or dancing or anything stupid like that. Uh, but what I will be doing is telling my coming out story. One of my followers requested that I tell my story, and I was going to type it, but typing it would take far too long. Coming out story, a lot to say. Um, as you guys probably know, I identify as bisexual. Cool. I've identified that way for about 6 years now, since the age of 13. Um, I came to discover my sexuality in humor. So I was actually 13 years old. That's kind of when you first get into the whole pornography, masturbation thing, and it started off with this like guy on girl porn or sometimes girl on girl porn, and I watch it and do my little happy thing, have my fun time, you know, what teenage boys do in the beginning. And one day, like one day, magically out of nowhere, the internet universe dropped gay porn, a gay porn video, right on top of the porn I was already watching, and I discovered that that guy down there still was kind of happy about it, and that's kind of how I realized that I was bi, and it honestly it was really confusing at first because being raised in the environment that I was raised in, African American male, I was taught that there was only one thing worse than being gay, and that was to lie and say that you were attracted to both genders. I was always taught that bisexuality wasn't a possibility, that if someone said that they were bisexual, they were actually gay and that they were lying. Uh, basically that being bisexual was never a possibility for anyone. And I was loaded with these images of DL men who claim to be bisexual or who are actually gay, and they cover up their real sexuality by being with women. And I was taught that these men contracted AIDS and they gave diseases to women. And so I was raised to believe that bisexuality was an extreme evil. That I was taught I was raised to believe that gay was an evil and bisexuality was an extreme evil. So it was really and a lie, and so it was really confusing for me at first because I'm thinking in my head, I've always liked girls. Am I lying to myself? Can I like boys and girls? And for a little while, I just kind of sat on it, like, I was a kid. I'm thinking like, okay, well, once puberty is done with, I'll get this whole thing straightened out. I used to pray that I'd be straight. I used to think that one day I would be straight. Maybe I thought that teenage hormones just made me attracted to everything at the moment. Um, Needless to say, I got older and things didn't change. They didn't go away. My feelings for girls stayed the same. My feelings for boys got stronger. Um, uh, yeah. So like, eighth grade, ninth grade, I found myself not being able to talk to some boys because I had crushes on them and surrounded myself with female friends because I didn't want any boys to notice that sometimes I was attracted to certain boys. Um, the first person to find out that I was bisexual was my stepfather, who I don't, who I never had a really good relationship with, and he found out because I was watching porn, gay pornography, and he caught me watching it and masturbating. It was the most embarrassing, most terrifying experience of my life. I've never felt so shocked, so afraid, so out of control. Well, I felt more out of control, but that's a whole nother story. Um, it was like I had this deer in headlights look, and I didn't really know what to do or how to lie my way out of it or how to fix it. And I felt like I was being thrown into something I wasn't ready for. And I was 14, so in a way, for me, not having the support or not having told anyone about this or not having anyone or anything to, learn from, I wasn't ready. Um, the conversation with my stepfather was a horrible conversation. It was probably one of the worst. I didn't get put out or anything, but he kept telling me how I was making a horrible decision, and he kept accusing me of being gay. He kept saying that I was gonna hurt my mother and my father for being the way that I was, and I didn't even know completely understand the way that I was. All I knew was that I kind of liked both, and I was personally okay with that, but I wasn't ready to tell anyone else, and I wasn't sure if it was permanent. 'Cause, people also feed you these messages that it could just be a phase, so I wasn't sure. Um, my stepfather called my mom, and my mom was extremely upset too. She did a lot of crying, a lot of crying. She kept saying, "What did she do to make me this way?" and things like that. So we cried together, and they kept asking me questions that I didn't understand. Are you gay? Are you bisexual? Are you straight? Are you going through a phase? At one point, they accused me of having sex with a grown man, and it was just like, I've never had any sexual encounter with a boy at all. I've never even, at this point, I hadn't had a sexual encounter with a girl. So I'm like, this is just the way I feel inside. Um, my father had a really bad reaction to it as well. Um, we argued often. It um, manifested into him actually hitting me a few times. Um, I don't talk to him very often, not by choice. He calls me and we talk, and I pretend that things are okay, but I never forget how he treated me at that time in my life. He was not supportive. He barely is now. Um, he kind of treats it as a thing that's there that he wishes we could cover up, but that I won't ever cover up. Um, my mother, for a long time with my mother and my stepfather, it was a taboo. You know, it was a thing that we knew about and that was always there that we never discussed. And we would discuss it maybe every couple of months when me and my mom were like in therapy or, you know, after therapy or when we were having major family discussions when it was like emotional. We never talked about it like it was, something normal. Um, Fortunately, I had an awesome therapist, and she helped me out, and she would talk to me about it, and she gave me things to read, and I found things to read on my own, and I grew to accept that not only is being bisexual a possibility for a human being, but it was my reality, and that is a beautiful thing. Just like being homosexual is a beautiful thing, being gay is a beautiful thing, loving is a beautiful thing. Being bisexual is a beautiful thing.